Welcome to Nebraska Preps Postgame with your hosts, Mike Sautter and Jacob Padilla.
Hey everyone, you hear that? That means we're back with another NEB Preps Postgame. Mike Sautter, Jacob Padilla here to kind of break down the high school basketball season, and I guess the open weekend is what we'll talk about this week. A lot of things happened. Everyone basically played a game. So everyone in the state has played at least one game so far. And we'll, I think, have a lot more clarity as to who's good, not all that stuff by the end of week 2. Yeah. Well, there's some big time stuff happening this week.
And our preseason number ones in A and B want to combine 1 and 3 last week.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's an eventful start to the season. Yeah. You want to start off the top with Class A?
Let's go Class A. So Millard North was number 1, preseason number 1 in our coaches poll. And they Bellevue West. They looked really good on Friday night against. I watched both their games. Yeah, they looked really good on Friday night against Millard West. And then
66-44 win. Derek Rollins 30 points.
Tied for a score record of 7 threes.
Yeah, 7 of 10 from 3. So like that's. I know Derek. That hasn't always necessarily been the strength of his game, but he put a lot of work on it over the summer, and you can see even from spring to where he was in July. The work that he put in on June, shot the ball well for the Mustangs in there, and it appeared to have carried over to the season. But unfortunately, he did not have his best stuff against Bellevue West in their second game.
He did not. So, but Corey and Gallatin had 7 threes and tied the score record. So for Millard North, so that's positive. But Bellevue West was not afraid. Like at all, those young guys that they have around Robbie Garcia,
a lot of freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, they're not scared of anything, really, to be honest. And Bellevue West took down Millard North on Saturday night.
71-61.
71-61. It was kind of close the whole game.
42-27 second half for Bellevue West. Millard North, they were up at halftime, maybe not controlling the game, but they were ahead. And then Bellevue West just went off from 3 in the second half, right?
At no point in the first half did you think that Bellevue West was going to win the game, even though they kept it close. Millard North went up by 8 in the first half, and that was kind of their time to maybe, if they were going to close the door, to just hammer it shut. But Bellevue West didn't go away, and I think that gave them confidence, to be honest. So their young guys are pretty good. Like I think this win for Bellevue West is definitely ahead of schedule for this season.
Yes,
for this season, right? Like I thought, and I've said, I guess in the past, Bellevue West is going to be one of those teams that by the time February rolls around, they're going to be really good. Well, it's December,
and they've already got a win over the number 1 team. Robbie Garcia, 18 points, 17 rebounds.
Really good.
But then beyond him, 14 points for Braden Morrow, sophomore. Yeah. 14 points for Bryce Johnson Jr.
14 points for Braden Morrow, all in the second half. And he stepped up and hit some huge free throws late, too.
And Bryce Johnson Jr., sophomore, 14 points. Okay,
Bryce Johnson Jr., he is electric. All 14 of his points at the rim. Yeah. Like he can get by you and get to the rim.
He's got kind of unorthodox style, finishing, like the way he moves is a little bit different.
He missed some layups and some contested stuff at the rim, but he can get there in a hurry. He's super athletic and quick.
So that's your sophomore backcourt, who they suited varsity last year, didn't play much outside of garbage time, stepping in their first big-time stage, and they really showed up. And then Keith Melcher
hit some huge threes.
Yeah,
huge threes.
Finished with 13 points there. Right. And then Carson Schultz, a junior, 10 points. So that's majority of production right there. And again, that's 2 sophomores and a freshman scoring in double figures in their first varsity game. That's like you said, ahead of schedule is the best way to describe what Bellevue West looks like. So credit to Steve Klein and that coaching staff, and for those guys rising to the occasion. So Bellevue West shot up to 3
from 8 to 3 in the coaches poll, and that means there's a new number 1, Papillion South. Papillion South's number 1, and it's the first time in school history that they've ever been ranked number 1.
Oh, look at that! I guess In all rankings, any rankings?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say ours is only a few years old, but
boys basketball, first time they've ever been ranked number 1.
Yeah. Well, and they are number 1 because
they had a really good week.
2-0 start, and Bryson Ball had a really good week.
Yes.
I was there on Thursday for their opener against Western Christian out of Hull, Iowa. It's a good program. They've won a ton of state titles. They won their class last year, 2A. Not the biggest school, but they had some good players coming back, and Papio South just handled them. They were not ready for the Titans defense, and then they were not ready for Bryson Ball. In the first half, Ball had 27 points and Western Christian had 28. After the third quarter, it was Bryson Ball 32, Western Christian 33. And in the fourth quarter, they threw out a 3 zone and made a run to kind of cut into it, but never threatened. So Ball finished with 36 points on 11 of 19 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3, and 8 of 9 from the line, plus 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block.
Pretty good night.
He's pretty good. So 69-53 was the final there. And again, 6 of 11 from 3, and he got fouled on 2 other threes. So they gave him 13 clean looks from 3, and he hit 6 of them. That was not knowing the scouting report. There was one point where he kind of just slipped the ball screen, and both guys went with the ball handler, who just flipped it wide open to Bryson for a 3. I'm like,
what's probably the guy you want to.
If anything, you double team Bryson out of that and let the ball handler go try to do something. But that was after he'd already hit a few. So just not a good defensive game plan from Western Christian. And then Norris, who I'm sure was much more familiar with Papio South and their personnel. Bryson only went 1 of 4 from 3, still scored 24 points, 9 of 13 overall, 5 of 6 from the line, 7 rebounds. And this time he got some more help. There was nobody else in double figures in the opener against Norris, preseason number 2 in Class B. They got 12 from Jay and Herrera. They got 11 from Levi Webb, sophomore there, 10 from Reese Kircher, and 9 apiece from Grant Beckenauer and Trent Krogman. If they're getting that, then they're going to have a chance to stick at number 1 for a while.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because if Bryson Ball is as good as anybody in the state, and if he's getting supporting cast help, that's a really good team.
Reese has done a nice job just from the little bit I watched, I guess, film. Nice job of being more of the distributor, point guard, true point, not trying to score too much and do too much. Now
they credit him with 13 assists in that opener, which is a school record.
Yeah, I like how you said they credited because you don't agree that it was 13. You think it was more like 11?
Something like it. We'll go back and see. But everybody's kind of generous with their assists.
Yeah, he dribbles is not an assist.
Correct.
But in that Norris game, Bryson Ball went down, hit his elbow, banged his elbow, had to get taped up. Also, Reese Kircher went down, ankle injury, might be a little bit for him to kind of get back. So Reese is very much so important to Papio South.
So Rice to number 1, and then get both your
your
2 key seniors get banged up.
Bryson will be fine, but Reese feels like it might be a little bit of time here. So we'll see. Going forward for them.
They'll need even more out of Bryson, and you have to run kind of the offense for everybody else. And Brady Alderson is probably the next man up at the guard spot.
Right. So number 2, checking in at number 2 is Omaha Westside. They moved up from 4 to 2. They beat Bellevue East. That was pretty handily.
Yeah, but 18 points from Lee Robinson in his debut, and 16 for London Dodd as a sophomore. So those 2 nearly outscored Bellevue East by themselves. Not bad for a freshman and a sophomore.
Yeah, not bad. And 2 guys I personally think are pretty
high upside.
Pretty talented, and the upside's really high for those 2. And then Bellevue West we talked about at 3. Millard North we talked about
dropped
at 4. Creighton Prep drops to 5, and that's just because
others wrote.
Yeah.
That being said,
moved up.
They just squeaked by
by Papio.
Overtime at Papio. Trinell Parker, a block at the buzzer to wipe away the game tying bucket in overtime. He had 23 points, 8 rebounds. Max Jungers, 13 points, 5 boards, 6 of 9 from the field. We said he was in kind of line for a big sophomore jump, and pretty good start for him. But as a team, they shot 2 of 13 from 3, and that is not the recipe for success.
They're going to have to make shots.
So, that's but a win is a win. So they get through the first week unscathed, still hanging there in top 5. and then Kearney at number 6.
Yeah, Prep gets crisps in the cage this week.
Elkhorn South.
Elkhorn South. Yeah.
Kearney handled Elkhorn South at their place 83-69. Ben Johnson, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Jacob Weber, 19 points. But the difference there was Leighton Pater, 25 points, 8 of 10 from 3. He's the guy that I mentioned.
If they can get Leighton Pater to give them more than 10 points a game, that's a bonus.
Well, that's if you get, you're going to get Johnson and we'll and like that's kind of the difference. So they get
Weber.
They got more from somebody not named Weber or Johnson in that Elkhorn South game, and won that handily. They beat Lincoln East 58-52 at their place.
It's a tough turnaround, actually, because they played at Elkhorn South, probably went home, and then it was an afternoon game in Lincoln. That's tough.
They got 21 from Weber, 14, 6, and 4 from Johnson, but nobody else in double figures. And so they were that ended up being a close game. But that's going to be the key for them. Mm-hmm. Like, they need their role players to step up. Mm-hmm. They need to provide some support around Weber and Johnson. And they do that again. Like, Pater's not going to hit 8 threes every game, but he's capable.
Right.
So that's probably the guy that you're looking at to be kind of the consistent next scorer. But they got some other guys that can help a little bit too. So that's going to be the key for Kearney, is that supporting cast and how much can they provide around the 2 stars. But you mentioned that I just want to shout out the Lincoln Schwartz in that Kearney game for they had 31 points and 8 rebounds, 13 of 18 from the field, hit a 3. Schwartz and Cooper Mrachek are probably going to put up some big numbers for Elkhorn South this year. So that'll be fun seeing those guys go against Parker in the Christmas in the Cage this week.
Yeah. And then Westview stays at 7. They handled Buena Vista.
OPS invite this week to kind of learn a little bit more about them.
So the
semis Monday and then final Wednesday.
Yeah. The OPS Jamboree, the semifinals Monday night, that is Westview and Omaha North playing each other. At Benson, and then Central plays Fremont. Yeah.
Which
so they have to round up. Well, in the past they've had Gretna too. So that and then the championship game is Wednesday for the girls and boys. So the boys
that'll be at Burke.
At Burke is the championship. So
we'll learn more about Westview.
We will learn a lot
Central,
more about those teams.
North and Central both receiving votes there. So we'll see all 3 of those. You and I are both planning to go, I believe, right?
Yeah, and Millard West moves up into the rankings from receiving votes at 9 after beating. We'll move on to B here. Omaha
Skutt Catholic, rising up there. And Papillion and LaVista climbed in with the impressive showing against.
And they beat Millard South.
Yeah, and they again, a close one there, pulled that one out. So kind of round out the top 10 there. Lincoln East is got a good start, got some wins down. Lazarick Houston might be the best player in Lincoln there, and had some different guys step up this week. So Northeast is a team to watch out there. Obviously, Southeast beat Lincoln North Star. They were up handily, and then
that was wild.
Kind of second half, North Star cut it down, but good win for Southeast.
You said handily; they were up a lot.
Yeah. But they ended up only winning 50-47. So North Star made a late run, but Mike Nagoy kind of leading that team. The only returning real impact player for them. You need other guys to step up, and they got that win. So that just kind of rounded the top 10. Like you said, Millard West climbed in there at 9 because they beat Skutt Catholic, who went 0-2 the opening week. Reigning Class B champions, preseason number 1. 0-2, but they have not yet played a Class B team.
Yeah. So Norris moves up to 1 after a 2-1 week where they beat Western Christian and then who else did they beat? And they lost Waverly, and then they lost to Pius.
Which not a bad loss to the number 1 team in A now.
And Skutt went to
St. Thomas Aquinas down in Kansas City area.
And St. Thomas Aquinas is the equivalent of a Class B team. They're a 5A school in Kansas City, and they were returning champs last year too. So not terrible. It might take some time for Skutt to kind of get their legs a little bit. I think I will tell you, Coach Jurgens probably has their attention. So
because lose that one and then come back up here and host Millard West and lose to the Wildcats in their place.
Right.
54-51. I think Reese Carson leading the effort there for Millard West.
Tough turnaround because you played in the afternoon on Saturday after being in Kansas City on Friday night.
And it was kind of a later start in that one unless they're able to move it, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tough. But, again, it's a veteran team. No, they should be able to handle it. And Millard West is a team that's going to be – like they're going to jump up and get some people in Class A this year. They've got a veteran team, a lot of guys back that have played for them that have kind of worked their way up through that program now. So it's not a team that you can kind of sleep on and assume you're just going to get a win there. And Skutt found that out. So that's how Millard West cracked the top 10 in A. But Skutt's still hanging there too because like the talent is undeniable. The reigning champs. They haven't played another Class B team yet. They will on Thursday when they get Gretna, and that'll be a tough one. Gretna 2-0 start. I know Trevin Wilkins went off for 30 in their opener, so they're sliding in there at number 8 after their start. You mentioned Norris at the top there. Thing about them is I think that Papillion defense maybe needs some work, but that Waverly game. They won the second half 47-10 in their opener. I joked with one of their assistants. Is like, man, I need to hear what Jimmy Mose had to say at halftime because, man, 47-10 in a half of basketball. And Waverly is like Waverly is a good rivalry. So like that's and then the Western Christian, it was tied at halftime, and then 28-9 third quarter. So we know Norris has the ability to really pour it on to go on some runs here, and that'll serve them well. They're just going to have to kind of probably maybe shore up the defense a little bit there to win a state title this year. But they're still at number 1 despite taking that loss. You mentioned Skutt
at 2. Bennington
at 3.
Bennington hangs in
good
at
week
3. Good, it was a good week for Bennington. They beat
Wahoo
in overtime
67-63
to open up the week, and then on Thursday night, and then
go to Crete.
Went to Crete and beat Crete
58-49.
Tough place, can be a tough place to play.
Crete obviously lost most of they had last year, but that's a great coaching staff. It's a good program. So to go on their place and pull out the 58-49 win, and Austin Kaiser. He's a name that you're going to hear a lot this season. Had 34 on 50% shooting, went 13 of 18 from the free throw line against Wahoo in that opener, and then had 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. And then Hudson Newberth had 16 points and 10 boards against Crete there. So those are kind of the two main pieces for them. Then they've got a lot of other returners around them, and Gavin Olsen, Jace Fitzgerald. Those guys are all kind of returning seniors for them. Yeah. So
then Scottsbluff went 2-0,
took care of business out there.
They were in Norfolk to beat Norfolk, and then they beat South Sioux City, which to be expected, I guess, in that one. And then Pius
went down 0-2 in the KC area as well.
So not the best start for them, but they stayed at 5. That's about, it's comfortable, right?
Yeah. Again, this early on, you still, you react to the results, but you also factor in who they played, what the talent level still, like how good you think the roster is. Because this early on, rankings are really hard this early on with the different schedules and whatever. But I think Pius they'll have a chance to prove themselves as we move forward.
They won they went 1-2 in 3 days, so they just like hung out in Kansas in Missouri. So sorry, they'll be fine. I think Pius will be right in the conversation.
It's interesting. North Star, Lincoln High was playing
Northeast.
Obviously, Northeast. Skutt went down there.
Kind of all play each other.
Yeah, a lot of Nebraska.
They don't want to play each other here, so they have to go somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Just play people. Quit being scared. Schedule good teams. Okay, Pius there, and then Elkhorn North. Wahoo goes 1-1 because they won at Aurora after losing in overtime.
Aurora, who beat Adams Central in their opener.
And then Gretna jumps in to 2-0, and then Gretna East and Platteview round out that top 10. No other real big changes in C1, C2, D1, or D2. The number 1 stayed the same. No one really dropped a lot out or moved way in.
Riverside 0-2 start.
Yeah, Riverside 0-2 start. I think there's football legs there.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same guys.
Yeah.
Key players there, and I mean they.
Not sure anyone's beating Johnson Brock anyway. So.
No.
Yeah, C2, C1, Lincoln Lutheran had a nice start. There's no real change. Boys Town had a nice win over Concordia, which dropped Concordia out. So didn't get any votes at all this week. So yeah, Boys Town might be one to look out for a little bit, just with their athleticism and size.
Well, they got the three best players back from last year.
Right.
And
yeah.
Poteet, Marcus
Poteet, Gray, and Whitaker.
Darren Wicker. Yeah.
Like they're big, long, fast, athletic, all those things. If they can rein all that in, they'll be pretty good, I think, in C1. So looking ahead to this week is
what we got?
AB early season classic or showdown, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of a neat little thing. One, we have the OPS Jamboree semis and finals. Kind of, going to find out some stuff about Westview and Central and North and that. And then pretty neat deal. Remember they used to do the 4-team pod things that moved around at the beginning of the year? So they did away with those. So that's why you had like the Titan Classic with Norris playing Papillion South. So this is another kind of example of new things. This AB early season classic showdown thing. So you have 4 Class A teams. So you have Bellevue West playing Papillion LaVista. Okay. On Thursday. Then you have Westside playing Lincoln East on Thursday. Then you have Lincoln Pius the 10th playing Gretna East and Gretna playing Skutt all on Thursday. The winners of those games will play. So the winners of the Class B games will play on Friday in the semifinals, and the winners of the Class A game will play in the semifinals on Friday, and the losers play each other too. So the champions will be just
champions of A and B will play each other.
A and B will play each other in the finals. So you could have Westside, Papillion, Papio, Lincoln East. One of those will play one of Pius, Gretna East, Gretna, Skutt.
Oh.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then there'll be some crossover kind of on the back end for losers and kind of
you got the losers bracket, third place, stuff, whatever, all that. So.
And same thing on the girls' side, same 8 teams, which the girls is very interesting because if Skutt and Pius play each other, 2 of the favorites in B, early on for sure, and then Westside and Bell West in A should be pretty good, or in the mix, I guess, if you will, in A. So kind of neat way to do things, kind of a neat thing. And all those championship games on the boys' side all those games on the boys' side Saturday will be like the 7th place game, the 5th place game, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 2nd. It's like 145 to 7. They're just back, bang, 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 bang. And then all those games on the girls' side will be at Lincoln Pius the 10th. Same time frames. So yeah, kind of neat. Cool. Kind of cool. Kind of like a mini Metro Holiday Tournament or Hack Tournament or something like that. This is kind of like the earliest jump start. So other games, shout outs. How do you want to end here?
Yeah. Norris and Wahoo play on Tuesday. That's an intriguing game. Norris going to Wahoo last year. Obviously different personnel. No Marcus Glock, but that was one of the most entertaining games that I went to last year with when Wahoo went to Norris. Really high scoring. Glock went off. Yeah. That was a fun one. So that's one that kind of has my eye there. You mentioned Christmas in the Cage. Prep versus Elkhorn South. Just the spectacle of it. If you've never been there, I'd encourage
fun environment.
Show up early if you want to get a spot in there, because that place gets packed.
Kearney at Southwest is on the schedule for Saturday too, right?
Indeed. That'll be another test for Kearney coming here to the Omaha and Lincoln area. So that we'll get to see them against the Southwest team that got off to a pretty solid start. The Sanders twins, Makai and Zaya, both played well. Jackson Cruz played well in their last game. So not a lot of size there, but they've got some good guard play on that team. And then the one that you mentioned, or probably Elkhorn North Bennington is another big one in B.
Yeah.
For those teams there, see if Elkhorn North can kind of secure a big early win, or if Bennington will continue to kind of ride at the top there. So yeah, there's a lot of choices for people to if they want to get out and see some high school basketball this week.
Yeah. Wow. All right. You have shout outs or no?
Not this week. I haven't narrowed it down. There's too many. Check my Twitter feed later.
We'll get to it later.
Big first week.
All right. That'll do it for Nebraska Preps post game this week.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.